Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
In the distant future, the remnants of conflict lay scattered across the battered landscapes of Terra Novis, a world where humanity had intermingled with a vast array of alien civilizations. It was a fragile peace, born from the ashes of war, upheld by a treaty that promised cooperation but felt more like a paradox. Liam Harrington, a soldier with the paratrooper elite, peered through the viewfinder of his rifle, the weapon a cold assurance against the uncertainty that bubbled outside the walls of the garrison. A vast expanse of gray skies loomed overhead, and jagged mountains poked through the clouds like the teeth of a forgotten beast. The air was still, ominously quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos of the battlefields he had known. The treaty was supposed to provide stability, claiming to promise to alien maids to every soldier as a symbol of gratitude for their service. As a soldier, Liam should have felt honored, but instead, he felt trapped in the confines of an outdated agreement that treated sentient beings as mere spoils of war. When the announcement came that he would receive his maid, Liam bristled. He'd grown weary of the superficial camaraderie within the ranks, where some celebrated the arrangement, treating the maids as trophies rather than individuals. He yearned for change, of culture of hearts. But how could he change a system that had subjugated so many? On the day of her arrival, he stood tense at attention, eyes fixed on the transport shuttle that landed with a thunderous hiss. The hatch opened, and a figure stepped out. Emma, standing tall and defiant, surveyed her surroundings with intelligence and an air of rebellion that sparked an interest in Liam. Something ignited in him at that moment. With skin of shimmering azure and eyes that flickered like distant stars, she was both captivating and formidable. The other soldiers chuckled and whispered comments about her beauty, but Liam felt an underlying current of resistance in her posture. She was not here to be a maid. She was here to survive. As she approached, their eyes met in a charged moment of recognition. Two beings caught in a circumstance neither desired. "I am Emma," she stated, her voice steady yet cool. "I am not your servant." A flood of emotion swirled within Liam. Admiration, defiance, and an anything but heroic longing opened up inside him. "It seems we are both stuck with this arrangement," he replied, choosing his words carefully. "I refuse to be what they expect," she affirmed, her gaze locked onto his, igniting a flicker of hope. Little did they both know, their fates were now intertwined, defined by a bond that transcended the strings of the treaty. As they walked into the heart of the garrison, the landscape blurred around them, thick with unspoken challenges and possibilities, and Liam realized that this was just the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The garrison bustled with activity as soldiers prepared for another day of training. But for Liam, everything felt different now. The arrival of Emma loomed over him, a shift in the air suggesting that change was on the horizon. As they walked through the corridor lined with cell-like quarters, he could feel the weight of expectation bearing down, particularly from his fellow soldiers, who eyed Emma with a mix of curiosity and entitlement. "Here's your maid, soldier," one of the younger recruits jeered, nudging his friend with a playful elbow. "Looks like you hit the jackpot." Liam shot them a glare, his jaw clenched. With each laugh and leer from the other man, Emma's shoulders seemed to tense even more. It was clear she held the same disdain for their accepted norms, her stance radiating defiance. He felt compelled to shield her from the veiled objectification. However, the irony of their situation lingered like a dark cloud overhead. "Don't mind them," Liam muttered, casting a sidelong glance at Emma. "You're not any sort of trophy. Just know that." She looked at him, her eyes revealing both gratitude and burden. "I appreciate that, but you shouldn't be the only one who feels that way." A flicker of a smile crossed her lips, brightening the seriousness around them. Standing in front of her new quarters, Liam hesitated, unsure of how to proceed. This is your room," he said awkwardly, pushing the door open. Inside, it was sparsely furnished, just a single cot, a small desk, and outdated technology humming quietly. "I see the accommodations are just as one would expect," Emma said, her tone dripping with a mix of sarcasm and honesty as she inspected the lackluster furnishings. "Truly delightful." Liam chuckled, appreciating her gall. "Yeah, well, it could be worse." At least you have your own space. She turned to face him, an intensity in her expression. I'm not here to be comfortable, Liam. I'm here because of a broken system that sees me as property. Liam nodded, feeling the gravity of her words. I know it's not right. We can't just accept it. Inside, he felt the urge to challenge the established order, to dismantle the societal views that allowed this. Their conversation continued, turning from formal introductions to shared experiences. Liam found himself more captivated by her stories about life on her home planet, a world vibrant with culture, rich history, and intrinsic values that celebrated autonomy and respect for life. She shared tales of her family struggles against oppression, the heroes of her race who had fought for freedom, and how the treaty's enforcement of servitude felt like a step backward in their community. Each word she spoke revealed her strength and resilience, and Liam found himself drawn to her determination. Do you think we'll ever make things right? He asked, sensing the depth of her pain. Emma sighed, staring out of the small window that overlooked the training grounds. I want to believe that things can change, but it requires courage. Courage that I'm not sure I see anywhere but within myself. In that moment, something shifted between them, an unspoken understanding that transcended the roles they were trapped in. Emma, standing at the center of the room, was not just an alien maid. She was a beacon of hope, a partner in defying the expectations laced through every fiber of their lives. The following days began to blur with training sessions, laughter, and undertones of rebellion against the conventions they were both forced to navigate. Liam found himself showing Emma the ropes of the garrison, introducing her to the routines, and allowing her glimpses into military life. Within this structure, Liam noticed Emma's keen intelligence, her quick wit, and a bravery that he had not often encountered. In the evenings, they would share meals, sometimes stealing moments under the stars, discussing dreams, fears, and aspirations that painted vibrant visions of a future beyond the confines of duty. During these conversations, Emma would often describe the legendary warriors of her people, fierce protectors who had sacrificed everything for freedom. You speak of courage and strength, but you embody them more than you realize, Liam, she said one night, her voice soft yet firm. What do you mean? He asked, taken aback. You're willing to see me for who I am rather than what they say I am. That alone requires more bravery than most possess. Her words lingered in his mind long after their evening ended, each interaction with Emma cementing an unshakable bond. It wasn't just about their roles. It was about camaraderie forged from mutual respect and understanding. Yet, beneath the camaraderie was an ever-present tension, one that would soon escalate. As the soldiers continued to treat Emma like an object, hissing remarks and chuckling at her expense, Liam was aware that the gulf between their values and the prevailing culture was widening. It was a situation that needed a reckoning, and soon, that reckoning would come. Emma's fierce refusal to bend would inevitably collide with the expectations placed upon her, forcing Liam to confront his own beliefs and the role he was unwillingly part of in this fractured society. As days turned into weeks at the garrison, Liam and Emma's connection blossomed amidst the chaos of military life. They navigated training drills and strategic meetings together, drawing ever closer as the world around them remained fraught with tension. However, it was their shared moments away from the public eye that forged true bonds of understanding and empathy. One evening, while the soldiers were occupied with a tactical simulation, Liam took it upon himself to give Emma a guided tour of the sprawling compound. I know it's not much, but it's home for now, he remarked as they strolled through the barracks and practice fields, the air humming with the sounds of laughter and camaraderie. Emma walked beside him, her keen eyes observing everything. The worn-out boots of cadets hung on the drying racks, the vibrant murals depicting celebrated battles etched into the walls, and the flickering lights casting dramatic shadows across the ground. It has its charm, she replied with a playful smirk, but it could use a bit more color. Liam chuckled, glad to see her sense of humor breaking through the serious undertones they often danced around. I could think of a few colors that would suit an alien maid, maybe something in a galactic violet or nebula green. Emma laughed, and it felt like a small victory for both of them, an infusion of joy in a life brimming with uncertainty. Their laughter was a reprieve from the inevitable heaviness of the truths they faced together. As they made their way to the training zone, Emma's expression shifted, and a thoughtful look filled her eyes. "Tell me more about your world, Liam. What do you dream of when there's no war?" "It's a simple dream," he said, feeling unexpectedly vulnerable. "I want to teach, to share knowledge. I believe in the potential of young minds far more than in the weaponry they are trained to wield. We should be building bridges, not walls." Emma nodded, her attention focused on him as if she were gathering every word he uttered. "That's hopeful. Why do you think your peers don't share that vision?" "Fear," Liam admitted. "Fear of the past repeating itself. When you've seen what I've seen, the devastation, betrayal, and grief, it's easy to cling to violence as the only solution, but it only accelerates the cycle." Their discussions evolved into deep dives into each other's cultures. Emma brought vivid tales of her world. Twilight festivals celebrated under blooming bioluminescent trees, the grace of dance that interpreted the history of her people, stories that echoed resilience against tyranny. "Your people sound beautiful," Liam remarked, his eyes lighting up with admiration. "Their strength gives me hope for our future." Emma paused, her gaze steady. "And what of your people's strengths?" Liam hesitated, searching for the right words. "I think we can be compassionate. There's an ability in humanity to gather in times of loss and uplift one another. It's the foundation of our greatest achievements, yet it's often overshadowed by greed and ambition." Emma smiled softly, a mix of respect and understanding reflected in her expression. "Perhaps, together, we can remind them of that." Their discussions became a regular intimacy, unearthing layers of vulnerability in a world usually dismissive of emotions. They shared favorite memories: Liam's childhood afternoon spent in a lakeside cabin, Emma's joy in her people's annual celebration of freedom, where the air was filled with music, laughter, and the scent of spiced treats. Yet, while their connection deepened, the challenges of their environment couldn't be ignored. One afternoon, while the garrison prepared for an imminent inspection by higher-ups, the tension in the air became palpable. Liam and Emma were enjoying a moment of quiet in a secluded corner when the door swung open, revealing some of the other soldiers. "Look at what we have here," one of them sneered, arms crossed, and an ugly smirk plastered across his face. "Enjoying some cozy time with your prized pet, Harrington?" Liam's chest tightened, anger bubbling beneath the surface at their dismissive tones. "She's not a pet," he stated firmly, stepping slightly closer to Emma, protective instincts kicking in. "Oh, come on. You know what this is about." Another soldier piped up from the back, laughter filled with malice. "She's given to you as a reward, just another part of the privacy agreements. You really think she cares about you? Why don't you ask her?" Emma's voice cut through the air with unexpected defiance, her chin raised high as she faced the soldiers. Their laughter faded, replaced by surprise at her boldness. Liam couldn't help but admire her bravery, but the ball was now in Emma's court. She had chosen to challenge the ideals the others held so dear. In that moment, he felt an unbreakable bond solidify between them, forged in the fire of their mutual defiance against objectification. The soldiers backed off, sensing that they'd crossed a line. They left with scoffs and murmurs, but Liam's heart raced. "Emma," he said slowly, feeling the weight of the moment. "That was brave." She turned to him, her expression softening. "It's necessary, Liam. If we are to change how they see me, we must first change how they see us both." "Yes, together," he replied, a renewed determination sparking within him. "They don't define us. We define ourselves." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Liam and Emma shared a lingering gaze, the air thick with unspoken promises. In that moment, they both understood that their journey would require more than silent rebellion. It would demand collaboration and courage, redefining their identities in the midst of a culture desperately clinging to outdated norms. Together, their future unfolded, an uncharted territory that called for exploration beyond the constraints of the treaty that had brought them together, a space where they could fight for each other, and for the belief that change was not only possible, but necessary. The following weeks at the garrison were a whirlwind of activity, as preparations ramped up for an official visit from high-ranking officials. Anxiety hung like a thick fog over the barracks, and every soldier was on high alert. But beneath the chaos, Liam and Emma nurtured their growing bond silently, finding solace in their shared camaraderie. However, the pressures surrounding them began to manifest in unexpected ways. Several nights leading up to the official's arrival, Liam noticed an unsettling shift among the ranks. Whispers of discontent swept through the soldiers, fueled by rumors and frustrations that hovered like dark clouds. During an evening of preparations, a squad mate approached Liam, a frown etched across his face. "You know that there are some in the ranks who think you're getting too close to that mate of yours," he said, voice low. "You realize they see her as property, not a partner." Liam crossed his arms, irritation warming his blood. "She's not property," he replied sharply, his anger spilling out. "She's as much a person as I am, and I won't let them treat her any other way." His friend smirked, shrugging as if it were nothing. "Just saying, man. You might want to keep your distance. Nobody likes a show-off, especially not with the brass coming to inspect. They'll notice." Before Liam could retort, his comrade walked away, leaving him frustrated. Just then, his eyes caught sight of Emma, standing at a distance with another soldier, her playful demeanor shadowed by unease. "Emma," he called out, crossing the space between them, unease filling his chest. As he approached, he could hear the soldiers' laughter cut through the air, the kind that felt like an insult rather than friendliness. "Look at you, a real soldier's maid," the man quipped, unnecessary bravado lacing his tone. "He must be soft on you if he's letting you linger around. Thought he had better taste." Liam's gut twisted at the thought of Emma being seen like that. "Back off," he warned, stepping closer to her side, feeling fiercely protective. Emma's eyes flashed with a mixture of pride and indignation as she stood her ground. "Is this what you call camaraderie?" she asked the soldier, her voice steady. "You mock and belittle me, yet I stand here as a complex individual, not just a maid." "Let's see how long that resistance lasts," the soldier shot back, rolling his eyes. "When the officers see you flaunting your freedoms, they might take that as an invitation to put you in your place." With those words, the soldier walked away, laughter trailing behind him like smoke. Emma turned to Liam, anger simmering beneath the surface. "Did you hear that? They want me to obey and stay subservient. They don't see the truth of who I am." "I know," Liam reassured, his heart racing at the reality of the situation. "But that's why we have to stand together. You deserve to be treated with the same respect I want for myself." Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the halls as someone slammed the barrack doors open, and in walked Sergeant Dorian, an intimidating figure who commanded attention without uttering a single word. The atmosphere shifted instantly. "Listen up. We've got a visitor coming, and I expect everyone to put on their best faces," he barked, scanning the room. His gaze landed on Liam and Emma. "And you," he pointed at Emma. "Make sure you wear your maid's attire for the event. We don't want any misunderstandings between us and the other officers." The laughter and energy in the room faded into an oppressive silence. Liam's heart sank as he turned to Emma, frustration boiling in his chest. "I won't let them do this to you," he said, determination coursing through him. Emma's expression was resolute. "Liam, this is what they want. They want to exemplify their control over me, over us. But I refuse to bend to their will." "Let me protect you," he insisted. "We can find a way to navigate this, but I won't stand by while you're treated like a possession." The vulnerability in her eyes softened his heart. "And what would that gain us? They are aligned against us. The soldiers in this garrison see me merely as a reward, a token," she explained, her voice steady, though her spirit burned with fervor. "Breaking their expectations requires strategy." Liam clenched his fists, realizing she was right. Every day they spent in the garrison built an underpinning of rebellion. However, they were outnumbered. He would have to tread carefully. "Together, we'll figure this out," he promised, wishing he could shield her from the harsh realities they both faced. "You deserve to be free, and I'll fight for that, to show them the woman you truly are." That evening, they strategized in the confines of her quarters, sharing hushed whispers as the reality of the upcoming inspection loomed large over them. Emma shared her insightful perspectives on how to pivot the narrative, how to use the upcoming event to bring light to the injustices they faced without igniting violence. In the quiet stillness, Liam realized how much he respected her resolve. "You have the strength of your people within you, Emma," he remarked, "and you inspire me to stand against this injustice." As they leaned closer, a tension ignited between them, a spark born from the urgency to confront their adversaries and protect each other. Underneath it all was a raw connection, one born from respect, admiration, and a shared vision for the future. Yet the outside conflict was inevitable. As the day of the inspection drew nearer, beneath the surface of their camaraderie lay the raw uncertainty of how they would confront the status quo. Outside the walls of their protected bond, the soldiers awaited, ready to uphold their misconceptions. But together, Liam and Emma were determined to shatter those illusions and redefine their story. The day of the inspection was a flurry of nerve and excitement, a cocktail of anticipation coursing through Liam and Emma as soldiers prepared for their guests. As they stood side by side in the barracks, the stark contrast of what their bond meant in the eyes of the military versus the truth they shared made the air thick with tension. "Remember, stay strong," Liam said, brushing a stray hair away from Emma's face. The intimacy of the gesture gave rise to a warmth between them that sparked a sense of determination. "No matter what they say, we know who we are." Emma nodded, her gaze steady. "Yes, this is an opportunity to showcase the truth of our connection, not as soldier and maid, but as equals." But even as she spoke, Liam noticed a glimmer of uncertainty in her eyes that crushed his heart. He reached out, holding her hand tightly. "We'll face this together." As the inspection commenced, high-ranking officers shuffled into the barrack. They were adorned in uniforms that spoke of authority and power, condemningly eyeing the soldiers below. Liam felt the weight of their judgment as they wandered past, all too aware of the injuries inflicted upon Emma's dignity. At the front of the group stood Lieutenant Colonel Branson, a stern woman with an unwavering gaze. "We expect discipline and decorum," she announced, her cold voice slicing through the silence. "And I would like to see how our soldiers treat their newly appointed maids. A reflection on your character, gentlemen." Liam stepped forward, his heart racing. "Lieutenant Colonel, I refuse to see Emma as a maid. She's my partner, an equal." The room fell silent. Uncertainty settled in the air like thick smoke. Emma's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and pride flickering within them. "Oh, a partner?" Branson raised an eyebrow, an amused smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. "A maid, however, is a reward. Would you rather us commend you for your taste, Harrington?" Liam could feel Emma's anxiety radiating from her, but he also felt it stir within himself. "You don't understand the bond we share," he pressed on, ignoring the murmurings from the others. "Our connection transcends the notion of servitude. We are choosing to mate, to bring our worlds closer together, not apart." Emma's eyes met his, a surge of bravery igniting their connection deeper, and in that moment, they each realized how powerful their union could be, not just in defiance of the treaty, but in how it reflected the very essence of their existence. A ripple of shock passed through the officers, followed by scattered laughter from some of the soldiers. "Romantic aspirations won't win you battles, soldier," Branson sneered, but her face was taut with confusion, perhaps sensing the authenticity in Liam's words. "Maybe not alone," he rebutted, "but through mating, we grow stronger together. Strength lies in partnership and understanding, not ownership. We must dismantle these chains we've placed on ourselves." Surprisingly, Emma stepped forward, drawing attention alongside Liam. "Mating is a natural bond between individuals. We forge relationships based on trust, not dominance. If we, as soldiers and people, cannot recognize that, we truly are lost." The lieutenant colonel's eyes narrowed, trapped in contemplation as the soldiers shifted uneasily beneath her scrutinizing gaze. It was clear that her authority was feeling threatened. "We will break the molds that define us," Emma continued, her voice rising with fierce conviction. "You see me as a maid. I see myself as part of a new generation that believes in freedom." Liam stood firm beside her, feeling the energy of their united front. Their bond, a combination of fierce loyalty, emotional connection, and the burgeoning desires for mating, was palpable, extending beyond the expectations laid upon them by their circumstances. Branson recovered her stance and dismissed them with a wave of her hand as the moment started to shift. You'll have your moment, but don't think your little romantic ideals will change the reality of this military life. With that, she turned away, signaling the officers to follow her. In the aftermath, as the tension resolved into weary murmurs, Liam and Emma stepped away from the spotlight, hearts racing and minds reeling. "I can't believe we did that," Emma breathed, looking up at Liam, eyes alight with both adrenaline and a hint of fear. "But did it change anything?" "It changed everything," Liam affirmed, their fingers interlacing as a wave of affection swept through him. "We stood up for ourselves today. We made them see us." Under the weight of their collective experience, a deeper understanding dawned between them. This was about more than just fighting the structure surrounding them. It was about embracing each other fully. Desires merged with purpose. As they ventured into the growing night, the sense of freedom coiling around them shimmered with possibility. Mating was on their minds, a promise they'd come to define together, yet both knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. But united, they could face whatever was thrown their way, as they penned their narrative while navigating the delicate dance of love, defiance, and the deepening call to mate. As the days passed after the tense inspection, the atmosphere in the garrison shifted, filled with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. Whispers of the confrontation spread among the soldiers, some expressing admiration for Liam and Emma's bold stand, while others remained staunchly dismissive of any change to the system they had long accepted. Despite the swirling chatter, Liam and Emma found solace in each other. They grew bolder, each moment spent together igniting a spark of passion that had been long suppressed. They trained together, their routines blending seamlessly, and in the quiet, stolen moments, they explored the burgeoning desire that lingered just beneath the surface. One evening, away from the prying eyes of the garrison, they ventured to a secluded spot just outside the walls. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in strokes of crimson and gold. They sat side by side, the evening breeze cooling the warmth of their skin. "I believe we can change things," Emma said thoughtfully, her fingers tracing patterns on the sand beneath them. "But it has to start with us." Liam turned to her, his heart racing at the meaning behind her words. "What do you mean?" "Everything we've done so far is a start, but we need to show them that our bond is more than just theoretical. We need to live it," she said, her voice steady, but the flicker in her eyes hinted at the depth of her resolve. Understanding lit up within Liam, an overwhelming need to fully embrace what they shared. "You're saying we should truly commit to each other, to mate in a way that symbolizes our partnership, to redefine how they see us?" Emma nodded, her breathing quickening slightly. "Yes, by mating, we solidify our bond, not just in our hearts, but also in a way that challenges the status quo." At that moment, the weight of their shared experiences rushed through him. How they had faced adversity, how they had challenged those around them. They had already defied the expectations placed upon them, but this was a new level of commitment, one that would unquestionably send ripples through the garrison. "But what if it puts you in more danger?" Liam asked, his voice low, concern lacing through his tone. He thought of the implications, of the judgment that loomed over them. Emma caught his gaze, strength emanating from her. "Risk is the cost of real change, Liam. I am not afraid, not anymore. This is a choice I want to make with you." Liam's heart soared at her words, filled with the urgency of their connection. "Then let's do it. Let's show them that we are more than just supervisor and servant. We are partners, equals in every sense." The moment hung thick with anticipation. They drew closer, their breaths mingling as tension crackled in the air between them. The world around them faded, leaving only the two of them, the connection they shared pulsing like a heartbeat. As they embraced under the fading light, the yearning that had simmered for so long erupted into something beautiful and raw. Their lips met in a soft kiss that quickly deepened, igniting flames of desire. In that embrace, they surrendered to each other fully, a silent pact binding them, not just in body, but in heart and soul. The act of mating soon became an expression of defiance, a powerful statement against the norms that sought to separate them. As they intertwined beneath the stars, their passion reverberated against the backdrop of the universe, challenging the very core of the world they inhabited. Morning dawned, spilling light over the horizon, and with it, a new sense of resilience arose within them. They had crossed a threshold, affirming their bond. As they prepared for the day ahead, there was an unmistakable shift in the atmosphere between them. It felt electric. Returning to the garrison, their presence drew curious stares, but this time there was an undeniable confidence in their steps. Their resolve had grown stronger, a reflection of the transformation that had taken place. But as they entered the expansive main hall, those curious looks turned to whispers, suspicion lingering in the air like a heavy fog. Sergeant Dorian stood with a group of soldiers, eyes narrowed at the sight of them. "Looks like someone's gotten too cozy," Dorian sneered, cutting through the charged atmosphere. "You're crossing lines no one dares to tread. Do you think this will end well for you too?" "We are not afraid of what you think," Liam replied, stepping forward, fueled by the commitment he felt for Emma. "We'll fight for our right to be seen as equals, not as roles dictated by the treaty." Emma stood beside Liam, her presence a beacon of strength. "Our bond is more than transactional. Mating isn't a reward, it's a partnership. You can't possess something that belongs to neither of us." Dorian's gaze flickered with uncertainty for the first time. The tension began to unravel subtly, a ripple of doubt spreading among the soldiers. As the sergeant processed their words, the collective spirit of resolve among the men began to waver. Liam and Emma had taken a stand, not just against the addiction to violence perpetrated by the military, but against the very notion of possession over another being. With every word exchanged, they felt bolder, ready to challenge every outdated belief that had fueled strife for far too long. In that space, standing shoulder to shoulder, they shaped their future, daring the world to see them not as soldier and maid, but as equal partners, unapologetically asserting their right to love, to mate, and to change the narrative once and for all. The tension in the garrison hung precariously as Liam and Emma stood united against the murmurs and disparaging comments from the soldiers. Their shared resolve ignited a shift, not just within themselves, but within the collective spirit of those around them. Sergeant Dorian, caught off guard by their surprising defiance, took a step back, his bravado momentarily flickering. Yet, the garrison was steeped in traditional views, and dissent often gave rise to backlash. "Look around you," Dorian rallied, attempting to regain control. The jeers and laughter of soldiers grew again, punishing Emma for her refusal to conform. "You think your little display will change anything? Treat her like a human? You're naive, Harrington." Liam felt a surge of anger churn within him, but Emma placed a steadying hand on his shoulder, grounding him in the moment. "Actually, this is not just a display," she challenged, her voice unwavering. "This is a conviction born from understanding and respect. We are partners who choose each other, not out of obligation, but out of choice." She continued, her eyes holding a strength that resonated with those around them. "Mating means mutual support, loyalty, and love beyond the constraints of what they define for us. It challenges the very essence of their expectations." Slowly, a murmur of agreement began to ripple through the soldiers. Some looked conflicted, others visibly moved. The defiance that previously seemed unthinkable began to flourish in their eyes as they recalled the imprint of their own relationships, friendships and bonds forged not from ownership, but from mutual respect. Liam bolstered Emma's words with passion. "Change does not come from fighting those who oppose us. It comes from standing strong in our beliefs and showing them the truth. We may be serving in the military, but our identities stretch far beyond that. We refuse to be defined by their views." "But what of consequence?" one of the soldiers shouted, a hint of uncertainty cracking through the ranks. "If we challenge the hierarchy, how do we avoid punishment?" There was a hushed silence, and Liam felt the weight of every eye upon them. "The true punishment lies in silence. It lies in complacency," Liam answered, looking around at them with renewed energy. "Are you willing to sacrifice your voices in a fight against the very beliefs that divide us?" Suddenly, the murmurs turned to whispers of support, individuals beginning to step forward, aligning themselves with Liam and Emma. One soldier surged ahead. I've watched from the sidelines, struggling with what's expected of me too. This is our moment. More joined him, their courage swelling in numbers, reflecting Liam and Emma's unwavering resolve. Something fundamental began to shift. The power dynamics that had kept Ascent in check for so long faltered. Together, Emma stirred, scanning the group. We can redefine our reality. If any change is to be made, it must come from us, standing united. Our relationships don't belong to anyone but ourselves. Before long, the atmosphere erupted into applause, encouragement coursing through the ranks, a collective promise igniting hope. The harshness of the garrison's conventional structure fractured, the walls they built to protect their traditions now crumbling under the weight of truth. Even as the sergeant stood visibly flustered, it was evident that change was inevitable. "We'll see about this," he muttered, retreating into the shadows. With that, Liam and Emma found themselves at the center of a burgeoning movement, a newfound commitment to rewriting the narrative of those who had been objectified under the treaty. Their unity had sparked courage in others, igniting a flame of rebellion against outdated norms. As days turned to weeks, Emma and Liam continued to champion their message. More soldiers joined their cause, standing alongside Emma and Liam, demanding respect and equality for every being, whether human or alien. The garrison began to experience a flurry of conversations about respect, partnership, and the freedom to choose. One afternoon, in the warmth of the sun, as they took a moment in their now popular meeting space, Emma turned to Liam with a smile that lit up her features. "We made it," she said softly, the gentle wind tousling her hair. "We still have a long way to go," Liam replied, but his heart was light. "Together, we can inspire the change that needs to happen. And together, we will continue to show them that our bond is not only one of defiance, but of love," she added, connecting their hands in a gesture of unity that resonated deeply. As they stood in that shared silence, a tranquil understanding settled around them, affirming their commitment, not just to each other, but to the larger fight for freedom and equality. Mating was just the start. Their love was destined to challenge the norms set by the past. And so, beneath the sprawling sky of Terra Navis, two beings forged their future together, their hearts intertwined in a battle that would redefine not only their lives, but the lives of many. The echoes of their journey would resonate through the ages, a testament to love, defiance, and the unwavering pursuit of a better world. With each passing day, they shaped their destiny, unraveling the story of two souls intertwined in a cosmic dance against the boundaries set before them, committed to living in a truth that was uniquely theirs.